All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Gotta Be Legend podcast. This episode, of course, would be episode 2 of our podcast. And today, on today's episode, we're going to discuss NBA free agency 2019. And we actually have a special guest, a good friend of mine, Junior Browne. Junior, how you doing today, man?
Good, bro. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure. I've known ALIANZ for over a decade, so long time, good friend.
Yeah.
As for myself, I've worked in the online gaming community for a long time. Right now I contribute to a few websites, just sports pieces, opinion pieces. The newest website that I'm contributing to it's called Belly Up Sports, exactly how it sounds, Belly Up Sports. It's a great site. They talk about literally every sport under the sun, including WWE. That's how far-reaching their coverage is. Yeah. They make sure to cover everything. Nice. And they got a lot of podcasts. One of the better ones that they have is Corner Booth. So make sure to check those guys out. They do a great job. Yeah, for
sure. Shout out to Belly Up. Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely something to have a place where people can go and see what they want to see. That's what we do. Gotta Be Legend, right? We have sports, we have sneakers, we have gaming, we feature music, cosplay, all those things. So that's definitely the way to go right now. But as for NBA free agency, there's been a lot of movement, a lot of, disappointments, as we can,
Well, you're from New York, so yeah, disappointment for you.
I mean, it's not even a disappointment anymore, or even mismanagement, man. It's just, I wouldn't even say chaos. It's just, incompetence. It's like it's cursed, man. It's like the Knicks are cursed, man. And you know what? Hey, they missed out on KD and Kyrie. All the hype. People talking about 95% that the Knicks were gonna get them, and this and that. And
but hold on, whatever. When you say people are talking about 95%, you mean like your owner kind of was like?
Yeah, he said that.
He didn't say their names, but he said, star players or whatever.
Yeah, big time. I mean, that was really big because that's a bold statement coming from the owner of the franchise, right? And come free agency, when it's time to go after these players, it was rumored that the Knicks didn't want to offer Durant a max deal. Now that's a rumor, of course. There were reports saying that throughout the whole process, it was really mostly with Kyrie to see, where he was really leaning towards. And it appears that, even Stephen A. Smith had reported it, I think during the finals, that, he was leaning already towards Brooklyn. And that pretty much did it, because it was mostly wherever, Kyrie was going to go, KD was probably going to be going there too as a tandem. So, it's possible that the Knicks, maybe thought they were in the mix for a while. And then, Brooklyn came about, the connection to live sports, Live Nation, right? Live Nation Sports that we spoke about before, right? Remember? So, there's a lot of connections there to Brooklyn, right? And the Knicks just, they got Julius Randle, they got Taj Gibson, Alfred Payton.
Bro, stop doing this to yourself.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like,
don't do this to yourself. Like, naming those players like those.
The best thing that the Knicks did, honestly, the best thing that they did was give 1-and-1s, 1 year and a second year team option. That's the best decision that they made, because in terms of impact players, that's not what they did, and they've always said they're gonna, be patient and rebuild through the draft and everything, and that's cool, and maybe, people you might bring in, might show you something for the next year. It's so, something you can control. But when you're New York, when you're the Knicks, and you have all this money, and you have all this buzz, this hype about KD and Kyrie possibly coming here, you have to pull the trigger and make it happen. You can't have a team like Brooklyn that is only 20 minutes away, get a chance to potentially win a championship before you do, and it's 46 years since you haven't won.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how to say this. Like, you're from New York, so I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But I'm not from New York, but I spent a lot of time there as a kid. As an adult. I mean, this year alone, I've been there. I don't even know how many times.
Yeah.
If you know New Yorkers and since you are a New Yorker, like, the Nets don't really have fans in New York. Like,
no.
New York is a Knicks city. It's
Absolutely.
maybe if you're like 20 years old or 19 or like if you're 20 years old, when the Nets came to Brooklyn, you were like 10, 11, 12 or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's possible that those kind of people, but if you're like over 20 years old, like
you're a Knicks fan.
Which are the people that are paying for tickets and going to games and buying merchandise, those are Knicks fans.
Absolutely.
That's the way New York rolls. They're not gonna switch up. No. Remember I told you they had you seen that interview with Spike Lee? And they they're like, oh Spike, you from Brooklyn? Now there's a team in Brooklyn. You gonna switch? He was like, hell no, I'm not.
Nah, can't, man. Can't.
It's that's a Knicks city, but
been through too much, man.
There's the Knicks have been bad for so long that they're putting their brand in danger.
Absolutely.
Because the Nets now have at least like built up a little bit of a core fan base. Like it's still, like, for example, if I'm trying to research a story, I read all the newspapers. I look for, like, if you go to the New York websites or if you turn on, I got that box where I got all the international channels. Like if you go to New York TV, the Nets are like the fifth story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they're covering the Yankees, the Giants, the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? The Rangers. Like the Nets are like in that group with like the Rangers, bro, and
even the Rangers get more love.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like, the Knicks are allowing these guys to come into like a space,
into their space.
That it's a vacant space now. Like
exactly, they've lost that power.
The Knicks will still draw because they're the Knicks, but if there's another team in the same city that's doing, that's performing. No matter what, they're gonna get the headlines. That's
Absolutely.
Just how that works. You know what I'm saying? For example, when the Nets were making the playoffs, that little run that they had with KG and Paul Pierce and them, they were getting a little bit, not like proper love, but they were getting some
notoriety.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like because it happened kind of quick for them. You know what I'm saying? And they fell off again, and now they made the power move of all power move. Because this is my point. It's not that Brooklyn got KD and Kyrie. It's that Brooklyn got KD and Kyrie over the Knicks.
And they were a playoff team last year.
Okay, so
yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So now if you're a free agent, why do you want to go to the Knicks?
Exactly.
Like if you're KD,
the brand just got elevated to.
But you feel what I'm trying to say? Like if you're KD, you're like, I could go to the Knicks because I'm one of like the 2 best players in the whole league, one of the 3 best players in the whole league. Right. Anywhere I go, that team has a chance to win.
Sure.
But there's not that many players like that in the whole league, right? There's only going to be like 3, 4, 5, not even that many players who any team that they go to. So KD, Kawhi, LeBron. Who else though? James Harden struggles in the playoffs.
Yeah, no.
There's nobody else. There's nobody else. There's only like really 3 dudes right now.
Those are proven.
Who you could say they go to a team and that team has a chance to be a champion.
Yeah.
Off rip, like right away. So,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people are gonna look at the Knicks and be like, New York media does not play games. They rip, like if you come in, like watch, like you see how Le'Veon Bell, and not to talk about a different sport, but just to give an example of someone, Le'Veon Bell made all that noise to leave Pittsburgh, and I'm a huge Le'Veon Bell fan. I think he's one of the best running backs in the league. But now he's going to a Jets team that has a pretty shit offensive line and a coach that doesn't really play the style that he plays, right? Like Le'Veon Bell is like, he could run and he could catch. That coach doesn't really play that type of offense. Right. So my point is, it's possible that Le'Veon Bell is not really going to put up numbers like how he normally puts up. That team's not really that good. Like Sam Darnold has a lot of potential. Other than that, though, what does that team have? So my point is this. Now, he's coming into a New York market. If he doesn't ball out, watch how they get on Le'Veon Bell's ass.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's football. Like, football, at least he's sharing a spotlight with, like, 52 other dudes. If you play basketball, if you're supposed to be the dude, if you're not the dude, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're on your ass, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're on your ass. So a lot of people are going to look at it and be like, yo, the Nets are not the number 1 story.
No.
I could still live in New York City. You feel me? Like, yeah, Brooklyn is not Manhattan, but dog, like,
Brooklyn's coming up big time, man.
And not only that, bro. Just be realistic. people look at if you don't know how New York is laid out. Manhattan's not really that big, and if you live in Brooklyn, especially if you live in the nicer parts of Brooklyn, I guess some parts of South Brooklyn, but like those dudes are gonna live like in Dumbo. They're gonna live in like the area of Brooklyn that's not even that far from Manhattan. So like they're in New York City, bro. Right. Like come on, unless you know what I'm saying.
Straight over the bridge.
Exactly. So, other than the traffic being crazy as hell in that part of Brooklyn, who cares, bro? They're millionaires. These guys will be helicoptered
like
from place
Kobe.
to place, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro.
They got the money to do it, man.
You know what I mean? So, my point is, like, New York is now, like, the Knicks got to share, like, again,
they have to
not yet, because Brooklyn still has to win something.
Yeah.
If these guys go there and they don't do shit, then the Knicks are still the brand. Right? The Knicks are
the likelihood of that happening is not as great, though, obviously.
Right. But what I'm saying is, look, the Knicks are the worst team in the league, and they're still the most they're still the wealthiest franchise. They're still the most
value.
They have the most value.
Yeah.
Right. So, no matter what, that's not going to change overnight.
No.
And no matter what, the Knicks have one of the worst teams in Madison Square Garden is always still full.
Yeah.
So.
Because it's a tourist attraction, man.
But if the Nets start winning championships now.
People are gonna start going there.
That's a whole different ballgame now, because no matter what, young people, what reason do they have to be loyal to the Knicks brand? Yeah. Even people of this generation right now, like people that are under like 50, what do they know about a ring, bro? They haven't won a championship in almost 50 years. So even if you were alive, were you 4 years old? Like, come on.
Exactly. You really remember that? Yeah, it's true.
It's like
true. Absolutely.
It's crazy, bro. Like they're a mess right now, Doc.
Yeah. The Knicks, I don't know, man. We'll have to see. They did, draft RJ. So, hopefully he could develop into a great player, all-star caliber player, right? From, Toronto.
Yeah,
right?
I've been watching RJ
boys.
since he was young. He's good. He's been living in the States for a long time, playing against the top competition. Mm-hmm. He played in the under-19 World Championships as a 17-year-old. Put 38 on Team USA, knocked him out. Canada won the tournament, so he could play, but he's got a couple of problems that he's gonna have to overcome. Consistency with his jump shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the way the NBA is right now, if you can't shoot a jump shot, you're gonna be just limited off rep. And the thing with him is that the way he plays, he's not afraid.
No.
Like he's gonna attack. So it's either gonna succeed or it's gonna fail, and possibly fail like spectacularly. You know what I'm saying? But I think, in my opinion, like, cause he has a lot of. If you like read a lot of these like reports, or you like, listen to like some certain podcasts, people will rip on him and say that he was kind of selfish at Duke, because like he's like one of them dudes that's like tunnel vision a lot. Like when he goes to the bat, if he makes up his mind he's going to the rim, he's just going to the rim. Like he's not seeing nothing. But I think that there was a time in the season, like when Zion busted through his shoe and he was hurt, Duke just kept on rolling, like you know what I'm saying, and he was the dude leading their team. Dog, he's a freshman. Like no matter what, he didn't miss a beat. It's not like Zion got hurt and then Duke fell apart, and RJ just took over until Zion came back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that if people look at it from the point of view, if you're RJ, before the season started, RJ was the number one pick.
Yeah, consensus number one.
He was a projected number one pick. So if that's what you are, and you go into a team and another dude overtakes you, a lot of dudes would be like, they wouldn't even be able to get along with that person. You know what I'm saying? RJ showed that he's mature enough to be like, nah, this guy's actually pretty cool. I get along with this dude.
And he's on my team. We're going to win.
Yeah, I'm going to try and like share the spotlight with him, because you can't say that RJ wasn't passing the Zion, he was a hog. He would try to do too much sometimes, but bro, that's because he's the number one. He was the number one projected player. So what? Now he's the number two projected player. He went third in the draft because Ja Morant passed it. But the point is, he's one of the top prospects out there.
Absolutely.
Of course, he's gonna feel like he could do whatever.
You gotta show and prove.
Yeah, come on.
Absolutely.
Like, this is normal. Like, look at Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish struggled as a third fiddle. You know what I'm saying? Because Cam Reddish his whole life was the best player on his team.
Right.
He always had the ball, and then he came into a situation where he has to wait, as a third option. Like, not everybody can handle that. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
I think Cam Reddish is gonna be okay too. I think RJ is gonna be good, but I think his percentages, like to start off, they're gonna be bad.
Right.
Because he's gonna have to figure out what's a good shot, what's a bad
Like
shot.
Knox.
Yeah, but he's better than Knox.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he'll be better.
I mean, he's better than Knox.
But I think he's gonna help Knox get better too by opening the floor because now you gotta play RJ, so it's gonna give him a lot of open shots.
Well,
too.
look. So, but this is the problem the Knicks have. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about the Knicks because we're supposed to be talking about free agency.
And it's
but
the Knicks, that's why.
the Knicks, they need shooters. Like
Yeah.
RJ's not a shooter. Dennis Smith Jr. is a good player, or potentially a good player, because he has the same problem that I think that RJ's gonna have, where Dennis Smith Jr. could get to the hole, but he's so used to like these guys, like some of these guys, like their decision-making process like takes a little bit longer. Like for example, Dennis Smith Jr.'s whole life, he gets to the rim, he's throwing that shit down, son. Like, this guy's getting his. You see that clip online where he's getting his elbows at this. A dude throws him an alley-oop. It's like in one of them workout, there's like a million workout videos. A dude throws him an alley-oop that bounces off the ground, and he catches it elbows at the rim. Wow. He's like 6'2". Right, so his whole life, every time he goes to the rim, and if you look at his high school highlights on YouTube, and even his college highlights, they're ridiculous, bro.
Right.
He's like going to the rim and dunking on people, right?
Yeah.
Not in the fucking NBA though.
It ain't like that, man.
It's a grown ass men, bro. They're putting you on your ass. That's not happening. And he's getting to the rim, and you can see that he gets in the air, and he's like, oh shit, where am I gonna go? Kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna have to develop a little floater. He's gonna have to develop like. Yeah, blow by your dude, but you see there's a big man that's gonna contest. Just pull up from 10. You know what I'm saying? Like he's gonna develop that. Well, I mean, hopefully. RJ's gonna have the same problem. RJ's used to being able to go to the basket, getting shots. One thing that RJ's gonna do though, for sure, I think from the beginning, is get to the line a lot.
Yeah.
He's so aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Which
he's
is
very
like
crafty too.
Right, but I'm saying like the knock on Jason Tatum right now. Jason Tatum does not shoot free throws. He doesn't get to the line.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? RJ's not. I don't think RJ's gonna have that problem.
Well, speaking of Tatum, in Boston, how do you feel about the rest of free agency? You know that of course Kemba was in Charlotte.
Well, listen, bro. If I'm gonna talk about Kemba, I'm gonna talk about Charlotte, because Charlotte is the Charlotte Hornets. I'm not going to say they're the most mismanaged team in the NBA,
Knicks.
But I'm going to tell you right now that them not being able to pay Kemba is like, that's just like that's the definition of mismanagement. So let's start from top, because we were talking about this before the show started.
You remember, right?
So they draft Kemba in 2011. Great pick.
Absolutely.
Kemba, he's makes the All-Star team several times. I can't remember how many times exactly.
I think he's been there 3 straight years already.
He's been to the All-Star game at least a good 3 times, and considering that his team
he's got better
doesn't
year
even
too.
usually make the playoffs, what more could you really ask for? If you're making an All-Star team on a non-playoff team, you're doing your job. He's been to the All-Star game 3 times. I just checked.
Last 3 too, I think.
I'm not sure if 3 in a row, but it
yeah.
doesn't matter. The point is he's been to the All-Star game 3 times, so that's a good pick, right? They got him 9th overall.
Yeah, and he got him off the championship.
From there, it all goes downhill, son.
Tell me.
2012. I mean, I can't even believe this nonsense. Like, I'm looking at it doesn't even make sense. They picked Michael Kidd-Gilchrist 2nd when Bradley Beal went 3rd. Damian Lillard went 6th.
Ouch.
So a move like that, so just think about it. So those dudes, they get their rookie contracts, so they're signed for like 3-4 years. You screwed your team. Not only for 3-4 years, really for like a decade plus, because Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal are all-star caliber players.
Absolutely.
Bro.
Absolutely.
Come on, bro.
Absolutely.
What are you like? Come on, bro. Okay, but anyways, that can happen though, because scouting is not easy, right?
Of course not.
All right, so that's 2012. So we go to 2013. They get the 4th overall pick. They take Cody Zeller.
Cody, that's your boy, bro.
Well, first of all, bro, I gotta shout out Cody Zeller, and not in a good way. Cody Zeller, I didn't even remember you got picked in 2013, not because of your skill, but because of your hairline, son. Cody Zeller's hairline is from like 1983, son. How did he get drafted in 2013 with that hairline? That doesn't even make no sense. But anyways, if you take your 4th pick on a player who his best case scenario, his ceiling is like an 8th man, bro. Right? Like, he's a starter for them because they're shit.
Right.
If he was on a proper playoff team, he's barely in the rotation. He's like an 8th man, son.
He's like a Jeremy Lin.
So they wasted their pick on this guy. So that's 2 years in a row. So now we go to 2014.
Right.
Noah Vonleh, 9th overall pick. Again,
Right.
Noah Vonleh, starter for the Knicks.
Yeah, he did pretty well.
Right, but the Knicks are shit. Sorry,
Right.
I know that's your squad.
So everybody can do pretty well.
Right. to be decent on a shit team, what does that even really mean?
Like, doesn't mean anything.
Right.
No.
Okay, so that's 3 straight drafts.
Right.
Then it starts getting really stupid. Like,
Stupidly interesting.
2015, Frank Kaminsky, 9th overall. 4 picks later, Devin Booker goes. 2 picks later, Miles Turner goes. What are they doing? And what's going on in Charlotte, son? Who are these scouts?
Tournament hype, man.
2016, they somehow make the playoffs, so they don't get a lottery pick. 2017, Malik Monk, 11th pick. Donovan Mitchell gets picked 2 players later.
Yeah.
You could have had a backcourt
of Kemba and Donovan.
And again, I'm one of those people, I try to be fair.
That'd be
right?
nasty.
Because I'll criticize you, but if you do something good, or if I try to put myself in your shoes and like think how you was thinking, like, okay, so
your thought process for that.
Right, so Malik Monk in college, he was really good, bro. He could shoot from deep. Crazy athleticism. Malik Monk is athletic as hell. Like, people forget that because he's not that good right now. But he's one of the most athletic guards, definitely when he was in college. And even though he doesn't really like get to show it as much in the NBA, his athleticism is off the charts. He's crazy athletic. But his decision making is terrible. His playmaking is terrible. I'm the type of dude, if you're a guard and you can't be a playmaker, you better be a sharpshooter, or you get to the line a lot, you're aggressive going to the hole. Like, you can't be like,
you're creating for the team. Like,
come on, bro. So Malik Monk right now is barely in the Charlotte rotation, and Charlotte's not good. So again, what does that say? If you're on a team that's not that good and you can't get minutes, I mean, that's on you, right?
Right.
Okay. So finally, so now we're at 2017 by this point, bro. They draft Kemba in 2011. They're in the lottery every year since then, other than 2016, and they missed on every single pick. Sure. So now you get to last season. They draft Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Toronto kid, by the way. Trade him for Miles Bridges. Now, Miles Bridges, I don't have a problem with him. He didn't play that well this season, especially in the beginning of the year. He was barely getting minutes on that Charlotte team. I think he has some potential. I think he could be a pretty decent player. If he ever gets a jump shot, then he could be a very good player. But like, you can say that about like half the league, bro. You know what I'm saying? So my point is, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a starter on a playoff team. So immediately that means he's better than Miles Bridges. He's just better than him, right? So that's another miss for sure. You drafted him and sent him away. Like, come on, bro. You can't. They did the service that they did to Kemba Walker. They wasted a dude that was consistent all that time. And dude, Kemba Walker's a little dude. Yeah. It's not like Kemba Walker's like Kawhi or Durant. Or like, he's a little ass dude. Like,
you can't build around him. You need to give him some.
You gotta give him help, bro. Like, you can't win a championship. And people are gonna say I'm wrong for saying what I'm about to say. You can't win a championship with little guards. Like, yeah, Steph Curry was the best player.
He's an anomaly, man.
Right. First of all, he's an anomaly. He's the best shooter of all time.
He's an limited range.
And he's never won a Finals MVP in all of his championships, which I know that's kind of like, the first one, maybe he could have sort of won it, but Iguodala had a solid case. Iguodala got put in the starting lineup and right away turned that series around, guarded LeBron, even though LeBron put up monster numbers, made big shots. Like, Curry needed help. Like, little dudes can't do it by themselves. The only little dude to be the undisputed best player on the team, to win a championship for real is Isaiah Thomas. There's only one. Nobody
as far
else.
as you can remember. It would have been Iverson if they would have won, but they got
did
against the Lakers.
Right,
know?
so Iverson came the closest.
The closest.
Right, he's the closest. But that formula doesn't work. You're not gonna have
in this modern age.
You're not gonna have a 6'2" dude. Again, I'm not saying it's impossible. Like, if Portland put enough pieces around Damian Lillard, could Damian Lillard be the best player in a playoff team or a championship team? He could. I don't think Hassan Whiteside is the answer though. Like, no. Hassan Whiteside's mad selfish, bro. Hassan Whiteside cares only about Hassan Whiteside. That's why it didn't work for him in Miami, because that culture that they have in Miami, they're just not going to tolerate that shit.
Right.
So and really, it doesn't even seem like Portland's culture tolerates that shit, but supposedly Whiteside and Dame Lillard like know each other, like friends.
Okay.
So like, you know, if you know the way Portland works, that's Dame Lillard is the chief, like that. He runs the show out there. Like, every player falls in line to what's going on with Damian Lillard, who everyone says is like the most ultimate professional, right? So Hassan Whiteside, if he's friends with Dame Lillard, has to know if he comes there acting a fool, they're not gonna have that.
Yeah, he ain't
You know what I'm saying? So, not to go off on a tangent, but you can't be a little ass dude and be the best player on a championship team unless you build all these pieces around. Like, Steph had Draymond, who's defensive player of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Clay, who's one of the best shooters of all time himself, and an all-star. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had pieces, bro. Like,
right. That fit his style of play.
Come on. So, you know what I'm saying? The Charlotte Hornets, talking about the disrespect of the Charlotte Hornets, let's go to their salaries. These are the Charlotte Hornets contracts from last season. Nick Batum, $25 million.
That's insane.
No, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong because he didn't make. I know he made 24.
What was it, 23?
He made 24 last year. 24. I'm looking at the wrong season. I'm looking at. They're paying him 25 next season, bro. They're paying him more, not less. So last season, Nick Batum, $24 million. Bismack Biyombo, $17 million.
That's a lot.
Marvin Williams, $14 million.
He's a vet.
Cody Zeller, $13 million.
That's a lot for Cody.
Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, $13 million.
That's a lot.
Finally, Kemba Walker, $12 million. Kemba Walker is the 6th highest paid player on that team. Now, it's not those other dudes' fault that Charlotte paid them that money.
No.
But what the fuck is going on in Charlotte, son? That the only decent player
that was the last year of his contract. So normally they're backloaded. So in the beginning they get paid less.
Okay, so they don't pay him the money. They sign and trade him for Terry Rozier. Sorry, I don't know why I said Rozier. Terry Rozier. And bro, they're gonna pay Terry Rozier $19 million a year, son. So, listen. Terry Rozier, first of all, I'm not shitting on Terry Rozier. I'm shitting on Charlotte. So, I got a lot of friends that are Celtics fans. Shout out Shaq. Shout out Rain. A lot of my friends are Celtics fans.
Right.
But Terry Rozier has never shot 40% in his career in any season.
38, I think, yeah.
Right, that's his career. That's
pretty bad.
Field goal percentage. For a point guard, that's terrible. Russell Westbrook is one of the worst shooting point guards we've ever seen, and he shot 42% or better, at least 40% or better every year except for his rookie year.
Right.
And he's a volume. He shoots a lot.
He does shoot a lot.
Okay, so if you can't even come close to Westbrook shooting percentages, this is my point. When you play 25 minutes or less a game against bench players, it's easier to get off shots. It's easier to make shots. You're playing against worse competition. I know sometimes that Rozier would sometimes, if he was hot, for example, he would finish games, and sometimes he would play with Kyrie, but he's essentially most of the time playing against other bench players.
Right.
If you increase his minutes and increase the level of competition he's playing against, you think his stats are going to get better?
No.
I don't. I mean, bro.
It could happen, but I don't.
It's possible. I'm not going to doubt him because no matter what, he's shown that he's really competitive.
Yeah.
He's tough. He doesn't back down. He doesn't take shit.
Yeah.
He's a pretty good defender. He's a really good rebounder for a guard, but he can't shoot. He's not a playmaker either. He doesn't make plays for others. He makes plays for himself, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. Even in that run that he had not 2 years ago when they made the conference finals and lost to Cleveland in Game 7. Everybody thinks he was balling, but bro, he averaged like what 16, 5, and 4 or something like that.
Right.
Just decent. He shot like 40% from the field. That's not that good, bro. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
If you're a point guard, you can't be shooting 40% from the field, bro.
You have to make better basketball decisions.
You gotta be shooting like 45 up. You cannot be shooting that low.
Yeah, your shot selection needs to be better. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's definitely something that's really disappointing with Charlotte. The failures that they've had. Now they lose Kemba. Kemba's going to Boston. Boston loses Horford right to Philadelphia. So they're gonna be in rebuild. I think Kemba, even though he might have a little bit more success in Boston, he might make the playoffs a little bit more regularly because they do have some pretty good players there. Tatum, Brown. Hayward. We got to see what happens with him because he may be overpaid, as some people think. Because he just happened to join Boston because his old coach was there. But
well, hold on. In his defense, though,
he missed that year.
But I'm saying he deserved the money he got when he got it.
Yeah, absolutely. What
happened to his leg is one of the most disgusting injuries I've ever seen on a basketball court.
Pretty bad, yeah.
I mean, if you watch the replay of that, I watched that shit on League Pass. When it happened, I wasn't going to replay it at the time. But after the game ended, I went back to watch the play. The sound that his leg makes when it breaks is so disgusting, bro, because you hear his leg snap. He destroyed his foot, you know what I'm saying? So he's going to take time to come back.
Absolutely.
The problem for them is that
they need him.
No, but last year, Brad Stevens fucked up. So think about it this way. Look at how bad he looked, right? Mm-hmm. And that was when he played 10 games, 20 games. He started I can't remember how many games he started. I have to look that up. But he started for the first month or so, you know what I mean?
Right.
So he got in the swing, he got warm, he got to get reps, and he still looked bad. Are you going to try and convince me that he looked better in the preseason and in training camp? Of course he didn't, bro, because he had less reps and he was more rusty. So how did Brad Stevens come to the decision that I'm going to start this guy over Jaylen Brown, who had just helped me go all the way to the conference finals and was balling?
Right.
Now, kind of, sort of, in Brad Stevens' defense, Jaylen Brown started off the season horrible. But I look at it Jaylen Brown started the season horrible probably because he was so pissed off that he lost his spot to a dude that he knew he was better than. And I'm not saying that Jaylen Brown is a better basketball player than Gordon Hayward. I'm saying that in 2019,
he's on the up and up. He's on the up and up.
But he's just healthier. Gordon Hayward is not fully
ready. He wasn't ready.
He just wasn't ready. So I'm saying, to me, Brad Stevens, he fucked up the team chemistry when he did that. Think about it, bro. If you're in a locker room and a dude is starting over I'm not gonna say one of your teammates because they're all teammates, but Gordon Hayward is the new dude on the squad. You feel me? Because even though he was on the squad last year, he broke his leg in the first 10 minutes of the season. So he didn't ride with you guys. He was he's like a spectator. Right. He wasn't practicing with y'all. He definitely wasn't coming to the arena every day. He was rehabbing on his own.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even if he was rehabbing, you get what I'm saying? He wasn't flying with y'all. He wasn't part of the team unit. Right. So he comes back in as the new dude on the block. Mm-hmm. He has kind of a coach's son relationship. Brad Stevens recruited Gordon Hayward in high school. Mm-hmm. Right.
Butler.
Right. So he went to Butler. So literally, Gordon Hayward went from a kid to a grown man with Brad Stevens as his mentor.
Yeah. And
Brad Stevens, don't forget, is mad young himself. So at that time, Brad Stevens is really young. So they weren't even that far apart in age, even though it was a college kid. Right. So their relationship has got to be pretty deep. You have to think. They went all the way to the national championship 2 times in a row with a no-name school, bro. You feel me? So my point is, there has to be a level of favoritism that's going on.
Of course, absolutely.
Even if it's subconsciously, bro.
It's like they owe it to each other. Almost.
How are other players not gonna feel a certain type of way about that, bro? If you're my teammate and I know that a dude that maybe is better than you when he's healthy is not healthy and still starts over you, I'd be like, yo, what the fuck is coach doing though?
Right.
Like, so that's a part, like their team chemistry is not just, oh, Kawhi's selfish. And by the way, I'm not giving Kawhi a pass. Sorry, I said Kawhi. I'm not giving Kyrie a pass. Kyrie acted like a little bitch.
He had lack professionalism for sure.
Yeah, he complained about his teammates. He acts moody. You know what I'm saying? Like, he literally answers questions like, you know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous, bro. Yeah. His attitude is ridiculous. And I'm sure he learned a lesson, but we talked about this before. He didn't ask to go to Boston. He got traded to Boston.
Exactly.
That was never his choice to go there. He could play the role and be like, oh, if you have me back, shut up, bro. You already knew you were going to New York. As soon as you saw that this team wasn't, or at least you felt like they weren't good enough to win a championship, you were like, fuck this, bro. I'm not even. Bro, against the Bucks, he wasn't going 100%.
No,
he wasn't. He just wasn't.
He gave up.
And the funny thing is, in the regular season, people act like he was bad. It's because people don't watch enough games. He was second team All-NBA. He was balling, bro.
Yeah.
The team struggled compared to the expectations that they were supposed to have.
Coaching.
But I'm just saying, like, people look at Boston as being a failure last year because they expected them to be one of the 3 best teams in the East, and they were barely like a 4 seed, right? So, you know, like, they failed in comparison to their expectations, but if you look at the talent on that roster, bro, like, Al Horford is the second best player. Al Horford is very good, but dog, if he's your second best player, like, what are we really talking about? Like,
are you gonna win a chip with him?
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, exactly. You know.
So on Philly now, that's a whole other story because Joel Embiid is like a borderline elite player, and I say borderline because like
he's the 3rd best player now on that team.
Who, Al Horford?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like Joel Embiid is like, you know, if he's playing with a player like that, that's like a whole together they play crazy rim protection, crazy.
Yeah. It's gonna be nice
defense.
It's gonna be really good.
Al Horford's a sick passer. Just it's, you know what I mean, like that's gonna make more sense. But like with Kyrie, what, like, you know what I'm saying, it's limited. His interaction, Kyrie would have to be feeding him. If he's feeding Kyrie, it's still a perimeter oriented, like, you know what I'm saying, type game, like oriented type game. Like, so I just feel like Kyrie was kind of in an impossible situation where he's in a place he didn't want to be. He's super moody regardless, right? Because they say in Cleveland, he used to do that same shit. He would like not talk to people. He would just like come in and just not talk to nobody, and nobody would know why. And yo, dog, if you're doing shit like that, I'm sorry. Like, you work in an office. Sometimes you go in an office, you're just not in the mood, but you still got to be like polite to your coworkers.
Sure,
you know,
absolutely.
I mean, you don't have to be, but if you're not, you're an asshole. That's just the way that life works. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna walk into the locker room and just be like, yeah, fuck everybody, I'm just not talking to nobody. All right, well, that's not gonna help team chemistry, and that's your fault, bro. You're the best player on the team.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
absolutely. I mean, that's why, you know, we got to see what happens with with Brooklyn and Kawhi and KD and Kyrie. You know, because, you know, obviously KD's gonna be out for a whole year. How is he gonna deal with it? But yeah, Philly's definitely in a really good position. You know, I think they might be the best team in the East, depending on, you know, Kawhi. You know, if Kawhi decides to stay in Toronto, you know, reports are saying that it looks like he might. But, you know, if he doesn't stay in Toronto, obviously he's probably gonna go to the Lakers. And, you know, obviously the Lakers just got Anthony Davis, they got LeBron James, and then Kawhi is just overkill. You know, regardless of who they get on the bench, as long as they stay healthy, there's nobody that's gonna beat them. Nobody's beating that team. And, you know, that's just another super team, the same as people felt as the way Golden State was set up the last few years. You know, a super team that's just gonna keep going to the finals and everything. You know, it's probably gonna be LeBron's last hurrah. You know, the team going to Anthony Davis's hands, you know, and Kawhi's hands if it goes that way. But, you know, I think Philly has a chance to be the best in the East as long as, you know, Toronto doesn't have Kawhi. But if they do, I think Toronto still is number one. it'll be really tough between them and Philly. I don't think Milwaukee is going to really do too much. They had their run this year, but they lost 4 in a row, man. They were up 2-0 on Toronto. Granted that the first 2 games were in Milwaukee, but they were up 2-0 and then they lost 4 straight. And Kawhi took over and made it look easy like we spoke. Remember? Kawhi just went, Jordan mode on him 20 years later,
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to compare people to Jordan. The only person you could really compare to Jordan is LeBron. But the numbers that Kawhi put up, the way he just went about his business, that was like Jordan type shit.
He was the most dangerous player on the court.
Yeah, he just...
Even in the finals,
they just couldn't handle him, bro. Like, listen, 76ers couldn't do shit. The Bucks had nothing.
No.
He was putting up, his numbers are ridiculous. He put the Toronto Raptors on his back.
Absolutely.
Once they got to the finals, the other Raptors stepped up.
Yeah,
he got tired. And they all across the finish line together.
Effort. It was a team effort for sure. They deserved every
against the Sixers and against the Bucks,
he took over. He was the best player in basketball.
He did some legendary shit.
He was the best player in basketball.
Yes.
He was the best player in basketball at that stretch. And then come the finals, he was a little tired, but he still, really performed well. Obviously, he won the MVP. First guy to ever win MVP for 2 different teams that are in 2 different conferences, So he's doing legendary things, man. And he definitely, pulled out his inner Jordan, and he took over games, and he showed it. He showed it in the most important time, playoffs, That's why Toronto took the gamble and traded DeRozan for him, So it all worked out for him, man. It all worked out for him, but we got to see what he's gonna do now. Is he gonna stay put? Is he gonna go to LA? I mean, the Clippers were in play for a little bit, but then it's been reported that the Clippers are no longer in the mix, right? It's just gonna be between the Lakers and the Raptors. And a guy like him, going into that team, the type of player he is, of course, like you said before, Lakers are, a LeBron team. It's a LeBron show, so you're going to be playing second fiddle to him. You're definitely going to be, I don't know, would you put, okay, if he were to go to the Lakers, obviously LeBron is number 1. Who's number 2? Is it AD or is it Kawhi?
So,
I put Kawhi 2.
I would put Kawhi 2, but if I'm just saying, it's kind of crazy to think that the way that how fast these things change, right? I would have let's just say before this season, I would have ranked Anthony Davis ahead of Kawhi, and this is the reason why. Even though Kawhi is a Finals MVP, when he won the Finals MVP at 22, he averaged 16 a game. He was part of a team that was he wasn't the man on that team.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Very well-rounded
in
team.
the series before that, I'm pretty sure he averaged 11 points a game. He was still young, up and coming, part of one of the greatest systems in NBA history, right? That. They're a championship factory the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
If you would they have 5 rings in the last 20 years?
Yeah.
Okay, so every couple of years they got a ring.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? So he and Anthony, and the reason I mention that is because I don't want to disrespect Kawhi and not recognize that he's a Finals MVP, something that Anthony Davis has not ever come close to.
Yeah, he's never come close.
Right.
To smelling that.
Okay, so Anthony Davis has been pretty injury prone, right? He usually plays about 65 games a year, which is missing 15, 16 games, 17 games a year on average. That's a lot.
It's a fifth almost.
Right. The last 2 seasons, I'm not going to count this past season where he has to be traded. The past 2 seasons where he missed 7 games each. He played 75 games in 2017 and 75 games in 2018. He averaged 28, 11, and 2.5 blocks. That's as elite as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Kawhi's never come close to averaging 28 points a game. Or obviously I'm not going to compare the rebounds and blocks because he's not a big man like that.
Right.
So Kawhi is just as injury prone as Anthony Davis, bro.
Yes.
And people kind of sort of put that to the back burner. I know, obviously, people that really follow basketball know that Kawhi's injury prone, but he kind of gets the pass for being injury prone because all those times where he was injured on San Antonio, because they're such a system team, you don't have to blame him because they just keep on rolling.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It was well structured.
When Anthony Davis gets injured, he has to get the blame because his team is trash.
Yeah.
So my point is, if Anthony Davis averaged more points than Kawhi, I wouldn't be shocked by that, bro. Because, bro, nobody in the NBA can guard Anthony Davis. Nobody in the NBA can guard Kawhi neither. But nobody can guard Anthony Davis because if you're big, he'll take you outside. If you're not that big, he'll take you inside. He does whatever he wants on a basketball court, bro. He's unstoppable when he's healthy. And, you know, the last 2 years, other than this lockout year, where he demanded a trade and they shut him down or whatever,
right.
He's missed less than 10 games, which is something Kawhi can't say. Kawhi played 9 games last year and like 60-something games this past year. So Kawhi misses a lot of games, bro.
Yeah,
and in Kawhi's career, he's never played 82 games in any season, bro. He's never played, I don't think, more than like 70 games. Even he's played 70 games twice, and the rest of his career is 60-something games, and like one season 9 games.
Well, if he went to the Lakers, you know, he would have more games probably where he takes off, you know, because, you know, they're thinking for the playoffs, save him for the playoffs, which is what they did this year, you know. And on a team with, you know, LeBron and AD, I mean, him not playing one game against Phoenix, you know?
No, I feel what you're saying. Listen, bro, I don't even like to talk about the Kawhi subject because it's too close to home. Just like you're a Knicks fan, it hits close to home. I lived in Toronto for a long time. Used to go to Raptors games all the time back in the day when the OVO zone, as they call it today, used to be called the Sprite Zone. You paid $20 and you sit up there next to the DJ and catch a game real quick, you know, on a Tuesday afternoon. You know what I mean?
Word.
Watching Vince Carter throw down windmill dunks, dog. Like I've seen crazy shit by the Raptors, except winning.
Right.
Like the Raptors used to make the playoffs way back in the Vince Carter days. They weren't really doing shit. They made the playoffs in the Chris Bosh days, but they weren't really doing shit. Yeah. They made it to the conference finals in the DeMar DeRozan days. DeMar DeRozan forgot to fucking show up for the conference finals, so they didn't really do shit either. So finally they were like, yo, get rid of this guy, get this proven winner,
and let's make it happen.
On a rental contract. Yo, Masai Ujiri, if this doesn't work out, Toronto fans are going to turn on. They're going to be like, yo, you... Because even though, to me, it was a good move because you just had to move on from DeMar DeRozan, even if it doesn't work out. People were pissed off because they liked DeMar DeRozan. He's just a nice dude. He's like a good guy. He's homegrown. He loved Toronto. He re-signed to Toronto when he could have gone home to LA. You know what I'm saying? The Lakers would have given him a deal. The Lakers were trash when DeMar DeRozan was a free agent. Yeah. So they would have paid him, and he turned down the chance to go back. He's from Compton, just like Kawhi. He's a LA dude. He chose Toronto over LA.
Yeah.
You feel me? And Toronto, I'm gonna say they backstabbed him because, like, you know, he's had these comments like, "Yo, I was a sacrificial lamb." Nah, dog, you didn't do your job. You're not going to average 24 points a game in the regular season and then get to conference final and put up like 16, 17 a game, shooting like 40% and be like, you're the reason you got traded.
Yeah, the team had to move on.
They had to move on from you, bro.
They had to make a business decision, yeah.
They had to make a business decision, bro. Excuse me. So, you know, I just look at the Kawhi situation like he doesn't know Toronto nothing. No. He didn't ask to go to Toronto. He got traded to Toronto. If he decides to leave, thank you for bringing us a ring, bro.
Absolutely. You get
good luck to you. But if you go to the Lakers, that's some sucker shit. You're going to go from the man in your own franchise where you could defend. Remember, we talked about this earlier. Nobody has ever won a ring and left and gone to another team. That's never happened. Like when I say won a ring, been like the dude, like the man on the team, the finals MVP, like that dude, and be like, all right, I'm going to go somewhere else now. That's never happened before. So if he does that to then go, bro, all things being equal, forget about being injury prone, forget about LeBron's age. If all three of these dudes are healthy, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard.
Dangerous.
Bro, those are 3 of the top 5 players in the NBA. Again, people are like, yo, Anthony Davis not top. Dog, Anthony Davis was first team All-NBA when he was 21. Okay? He's one of the 5 best players in the NBA. Stop the nonsense. Okay? If Anthony Davis is on your team, bro, with LeBron, that alone...
They're already the favorites.
You're like in the conference finals, bro, just based off that alone.
They're already favorites to win the chip, so what happens if they add Kawhi?
Come on.
Come on, bro. It's
just,
overkill.
It's stupid. That would just be stupid.
Yeah, it's overkill.
I would still love Kawhi because no matter what, he made me
Kawhi
see something that I never thought would be. Bro, if you told me before the season the Raptors were winning the championship, I'm like,
I like the Raptors this
settle down, though.
I like them a lot.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, I keep it 100, bro.
I told people, like, yo, the Raptors, man. People were like, nah, man.
I wasn't hearing it, bro.
I was telling people the Raptors.
You know, I'm in like a group chat with a bunch of my friends in this. We in a fantasy keeper league that we've been in for years, like friends from high school. So it's all dudes, you know, that root for the Raptors from back home. A couple of them were like, yo, the Raptors can do this year with Kawhi. I was like, hell nah, bro. They're the Raptors, bro. They're going to figure out a way
to fuck it up.
So I'm going to keep it 1,000. I was not like, yeah, for sure they're going to do it. I was like, I've seen them not do it so many times. Until they do it, I didn't believe that they could do it. Yeah, straight up.
They got to do it first.
Like my cousin, yo, I told you, my cousin works for Scotiabank Arena. He puts down the Raptors court, takes care of the ice for hockey. Like, he works at the arena, so he works like what, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Behind the scenes, he stands courtside at games and all that. My cousin was like, bro, as soon as they traded for Kawhi, he was like, dog, we're winning the chip. That's it. Yo, chips and dip. We're winning that. That's it. We got
I kind of felt that way too. I mean, Kawhi is that kind of player, so, you know, it's gonna be really important to see, you know, where he decides to go. I mean, I think he's the X factor, you know, when it comes to, you know, who could possibly win the NBA title this upcoming season, because, you know, of course, Brooklyn, it's just going to be the Kyrie show for now. You know, with KD, you know, we'll see how he comes back from his injury. He might not be back to normal until halfway through the season after, right? Who knows, right? You might get him really where he's at in year 3 of the contract. And then by then, you know, what's going to happen with LeBron and AD in LA. You know, they might be on a run. They might be able to go ahead and win the chip this year if they get some good pieces. You know, get LeBron some shooters. But, you know, it's really going to matter about where Kawhi goes. You know, if Kawhi stays in Toronto, then it's going to be competitive for sure. But, you know, if he decides to go to LA, you can forget about it. You know.
No, it's stupid. It's stupid.
If like, they can stay healthy.
I was pissed off when KD went to the Warriors. Because the Warriors won like 73 games. The OKC was up 3-1 in that series, and you're gonna not only not finish the job, but go to the dudes that embarrassed you. That was like.
But that still doesn't compare to the level of
of
Kawhi, Finals MVP, joining your team.
That is already stacked, bro. Yeah. It's like. Again, Kawhi doesn't owe anybody anything. He has 2 rings, 2 Finals MVPs. He's his own man. He's shown that he doesn't really care. But just for like the sport of basketball, to make the league competitive, to have the best possible NBA, you can't have 3 of the 5 best players in the whole sport on the same team, son.
That's just too much.
It's ridiculous, bro.
That's too much, man. That's just gonna be, you know,
like Lakers fans are hearing this and hating super hard, and that's fine. It's if that was my squad, I'd probably feel the same way.
I'd be hyped too, you know what I'm saying? For sure.
So I'm not talking to Lakers fans. If Lakers fans are happy, I unfortunately am friends with a lot of Lakers fans, some of the most annoying fans on earth. But like, if you're a Lakers fan, of course you're happy, bro. Like, that's your squad.
You have to be excited.
You don't care how they get the chip. You want chips. That's how that works, bro. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if you care about basketball
and the NBA,
you kind of have to want like
balance.
Yeah, bro. Like some kind of like semblance of competition. Like
it has to be balanced. Absolutely.
It's just dog. And I don't like to talk old head shit. You know what I'm saying? Like we live in the now. But imagine, like, when Barkley left the Sixers, instead of going to the Suns, he went to the Bulls and played with Mike and Scotty.
Jesus Christ.
Dog, that would be so stupid. Like, you know, like, I swear to God, I would look at Jordan different. I would just be like, yeah, he won 9 rings. So, like, you know, he had 6 rings without Barkley. How many is he getting with Barkley? Like 9?
Yeah.
He had 9 rings, but dog, like,
look at his squad.
Look at his. Yeah, like when people tell me, "Yo, Bill Russell's the best winner of all time." He's 11. Yeah, he has 11 rings against like 8 teams, dog.
Yeah.
He's playing against like even by the time he left, what was there like 16 teams, son? get out of here with that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you
was
guys
different.
had, yo, dog, that
different,
team has like 8 Hall of Fame. I don't know how many Hall of Famers they have. They had a lot of Hall of Famers because, you know what I'm saying?
The game was different then. You know, the game was a lot different then too.
So what I'm saying is like, if LeBron gets Kawhi, he's gonna finish probably with more rings than Jordan, bro. Like, yo, dog, if he gets Kawhi, I don't want to be on that goofy Miami shit, man, by 5 or 6 or 7, but he's gonna get like 2. He's not gonna play with Kawhi, KD or AD, sorry, and get less than 2 rings.
No, I mean, if they get him this year, he has 3 years left on his contract with LA.
He's getting 2 at least,
and maybe 3 appearances.
3 appearances, 2 rings.
Yeah,
easy, light work.
Light work.
Come on, dog.
Light work. So I mean, we gotta see, man. We gotta see what's gonna happen. You know, power structure in the NBA is shifting. You know, Golden State dynasty is no more, at least for this year, until Klay comes back.
I still think that Golden State will most likely make the playoffs. People think that they won't make the playoffs.
They will.
People need to chill. I'm not saying it's impossible that they miss the playoffs, because just based on the fact that in the last 5 years they've played 93 playoff games.
That's a lot, man.
They've played 100 games a season for like 5 years. That's pretty ridiculous.
They played an extra season.
Right. So it's possible they could just be like, yo, this just takes too much effort. If we know we're not gonna win the ring, what are we really like fighting for right now?
Right, let's wait for Klay to get
But
back.
I just think that Steph Curry has a chance to be like, I'm just gonna go and try and get the MVP.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go drop 30 a game like I did in 2015,
It's gonna be interesting
bro.
to see, if he wins the MVP.
Right. So that's possible.
Absolutely.
And if you just look, so I've done this exercise with you before. If you're gonna say this team is not gonna make the playoffs,
Then
but they
who
were in the
is?
playoffs last year, then you have to replace them with a non-playoff team, right?
Yeah, who is?
So if you just look at the playoffs last year, it's Golden State won, then Denver, Portland, Houston, Utah, OKC, San Antonio, Clippers. So Clippers are out, Lakers are in.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
If you're taking out Golden State now, you have to replace them with one of these non-playoff teams. So you're replacing them with Sacramento? I'm not.
No.
Are you replacing them with the Timberwolves? I'm not.
No.
If you're replacing them with the Grizzlies, of course not.
No.
With the Pelicans, maybe, because the Pelicans are going to get a whole new squad,
They're
basically.
gonna be nasty in the next
Zion,
years.
we just finished watching Zion play his first preseason game.
Oh, yeah.
He's playing bully ball out there. He sunned your boy Kevin Knox. Took the ball off Kevin Knox like he was a little boy and threw it like, yo.
He's scary.
He's gonna be a problem.
He's scary.
Right? I'm not saying he's gonna be a superstar off the bat, but I'm saying he's already like not gonna be shit, I don't think.
Yeah,
right?
No.
Plus they got a bunch of dudes that are pretty decent.
That had high ceiling and could still reach it.
Still reach their ceiling, still all young, still probably gonna grow together a little bit.
It'll work better for them for sure.
They picked up Derek Favors from the Jazz. They picked up JJ Redick from the Sixers.
Drew Holiday's still there.
They're a pretty decent squad. So
Absolutely.
But
and they made the playoffs the year before.
Right, but I'm just saying, are they for sure gonna be better than when you said the year before, like the year they swept Portland?
Yeah, the year before this one.
Exactly.
Yeah,
okay,
you know?
So what I'm saying is they're not for sure gonna be better than the Warriors though, because the Warriors just a championship pedigree, like a championship.
Absolutely.
They have like a system. They have a core. They know
what they're doing.
Right. You can't. No matter what, bro. Sports don't work like that.
It takes years.
Again, the Heat proved that.
It takes years.
You put Bosh, Wade, and LeBron together, and they were good, but not good enough to win it. They lost the
first final.
And they lost in embarrassing fashion. LeBron.
Absolutely.
Not gonna get into that right now, but
worst loss of his career.
But in the GOAT conversation, if you're gonna put something against LeBron, it's
that.
It's his whole demeanor, his whole play, his vibe. The I don't want to do this. I give up.
The whole Dallas series, yeah.
That was awful.
Yeah.
Right. So LeBron is still at least not worse than the second best player of all time, if not the greatest player of all time. But in that greatest player of all time argument, the Celtics series where he gave up against the Cavaliers and the Heat series where he gave up against the Mavericks, those are 2 big-ass strikes on his resume. Mm-hmm. But that being said, it's 2019. If he has AD and he has Kawhi, bro, with LeBron's basketball IQ,
He can extend his career another 5-6 years.
Come on, bro. This doesn't
Easily.
doesn't even make
Because now
sense.
he has two
Like,
scoring options that can just do all the scoring for him, and he can just provide for him.
I'm not with it, bro.
Yeah,
I'm not with
that's gonna be crazy. So, I mean, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. Obviously, tomorrow's July 6th, so if I'm not mistaken, teams can sign within the next few days. I know when it comes to the AD trade after July 6th, it opens up cap room for them. So we'll have to see what happens with that, and we'll have to see what happens with Kawhi and the decision he makes, because wherever he chooses to go, it's definitely going to go ahead and impact the NBA at a pretty large scale. Finals MVP. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll be back for more once we find out where Kawhi goes, how that's going to affect the league. So I'd love to have you back again. So we can go and discuss that. So, Junior, I thank you so much for being here on episode 2 of the Gotta Be Legend podcast, NBA Free Agency 2019. Is there anything you want to say? Any closing remarks?
Nah, man, thank you for having me, bro. Been friends for a long time. We talk sports all day. We used to work together. You know what I mean? So, definitely a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. Come back anytime if you'll have me again. And I guess the only thing else I want to say is Raptors are champions, and don't forget it.
Oh man, I hear you, man. No, they deserved it. They played their asses off, and it's gonna be interesting to see what happens next season. So, Gotta Be Legend, right? The Gotta Be Legend podcast. This has been ALIANZ, episode 2. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Until next time, folks. Take care and peace out.